Welcome. This video is about context. What is context? How do we move beyond limited context in order to expand our understanding of people and of events? During challenging times, what contexts create meaningful solutions? I'll answer these questions and then I'll talk about what love has to do with context and accuracy, and about what humility, compassion, and love have to do with actionable solutions. And lastly, and very importantly, I'll discuss how we can create context of understanding to create peace within our lives, within ourselves. I'm Dr. Lynette and you're watching Wisdom's Peaceful Harmony. And if you want to be notified of future videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell. And if you like this video, please click on the like button. So what is context? Well, context is the totality of all interrelated conditions in which something or someone exists. We can know the context of something as much as we are aware of all the conditions in which it exists, and as much as we are accurate and as much as we are thorough in our understanding of these conditions. Now, a completely comprehensive context usually includes many factors beyond what we know. Our thoughts are one of the interrelated conditions that create our context of understanding. And context, in turn, creates perceptions and interpretations. So how does this work? Well, each of our lives exists within a context. And if we want to accurately understand this context, we have to have accurate thoughts. This seems like a no-brainer, but here's the challenge. If our thoughts are not accurate, we create a misunderstanding of our lives and of the context, the conditions in which we exist. Herein lies a feedback loop because thoughts create the context. Thoughts are conditions of the belief system, and thoughts create more thoughts. So thoughts are a condition and they interpret the conditions, accurately or not. So if the thoughts are not accurate, the context is faulty, and you will misunderstand the context of your life. So what are these feedback loops and how do they impact the accuracy of our understandings? Well, there are closed and open feedback loops. A closed feedback loop does not take in new information. It cannot change or learn. So to the degree that it is inaccurate, it will embellish and exaggerate inaccuracies in order to create an expanding narrative that appears to have new information. But it doesn't have new information. It just increases its errors. An open feedback loop can take in new information. It can improve and change and learn. To the degree that it has been inaccurate, it can learn, evolve, and create new ideas to resolve the inaccuracies. In other words, an open feedback loop only exists in a context or for a context whose conditions include honesty and humility. Thoughts have a profound impact on how we interpret events, situations, and people, including ourselves. Thoughts are what you tell yourself, thus creating your decisions, actions, and feelings. Be aware that it is tempting to tell yourself that you know all there is to know about something, because this belief gives a false sense of control. But it is not actually safe or in control at all. That context of belief prevents you from learning. It limits your wisdom and it limits the context from which your mind perceives, interprets, and understands. Keep in mind, there are very few things in this world that anyone knows everything about. Healthy perception requires a balance of confidence and humility. Having confidence in your beliefs while also honestly, humbly being honest to know that you and your beliefs exist within a context beyond the conditions that you already know about. For example, imagine visiting another culture. The more that you understand yourself and what you already know about the culture, the more accurately you understand what you're observing. But be humble so that you can be honest with yourself about the limits of what you know. Realize that you may not know where your blind spots are until you bump into uncomfortable experiences. When this discomfort happens, rather than being upset, be open to new information. The other culture can't be accurately understood from within the confines of what you knew from within your own culture. You want to bring with you your wisdom and love, but let go of any limited expectations that other people will speak or act or organize from the same operating system or from within the same conditions that you understand. Now, open the context of your mind to see the whole world is an ever-evolving new culture. Oftentimes, we try to understand ourselves as if we are not forever changing, but we are. We also try to understand other people as if they're living the same life as our own, but that's not an accurate understanding or interpretation. Doing so leaves you ignorant and misinformed. We do this not only with people, but with systems that we seek to improve. When we try to create a systemic solution from within the context that created the problem, then we can't see outside the contextual box. In order to create solutions from an unlimited context, from outside the box, we must determine which conditions are no longer needed. We have to find the conditions that limit cooperation, conditions that were created from ignorant or faulty perspectives and attributes like racism, greed, sexism, dominance, isolation, and more. We must let go of these habitual conditions in order to create new contexts that evolve our understanding, and then we can create systemic solutions. If we keep these old conditions, then the attempted solutions that they create will cause further problems. So, how do we expand understanding to go beyond limited contexts? And during challenging times, what contexts provide meaningful solutions? Well, life is full of opportunities to act in ways that create a better world. If we perceive the world through a lens of love, we still see problems, but we don't define people as problems or as solutions. Define issues as problems and create systems and relationships for solutions. Evolved understanding comes from a context made of love and compassion. From this powerful context, we can see that love's actions become solutions anywhere that love was absent. The context of your thoughts creates the words and actions that you give to others. When you notice a problem, or when you notice an event or situation where you want to create solutions and impact, understand it from a context created with wisdom, humility, honesty, compassion, and love. From this context, you can create actionable solutions that have a meaningful and lasting impact. Now, it may be tempting to focus on what seems dangerous in an attempt to be protected from it. While it's important to know about dangers, focusing there can give a false sense of protection and anxiety. Focusing in the negative leads to a context of fear. This furthers anxious thoughts and actions, leading to a self-fulfilling prophecy, a closed feedback loop. Think about this. When we look into the sun with our eyes wide open, and then we look away, we see the sun's silhouette on everything. If you look at situations through a lens of fear and judgment, you will imprint your mind with a consciousness of anxiety. The condition of anxiety then becomes embedded in your context of understanding. You then perceive the world through a lens of anxiety or anger or hate or whatever lens you have imprinted on your mind. You'll then use this extremely limited awareness to understand and interpret your experiences. Now, if we are fearful, we perceive others as fear-inducing. We can get stuck in a context where anxiety is a strong condition in a closed feedback loop. If we don't believe that we are capable of creating from love, then we may become dependent on someone else to be our savior. This leads to a sense of personal powerlessness. A negative perception has short-term impact, but a loving perception has meaningful and lasting strength. We need to stay open and willing to learn in order to be aware of a fuller, wiser picture. We have to create perception from wisdom's awareness in order to know where to offer love's actionable solutions. So how do we do this? Well, notice that when our physical senses interpret the world accurately, no contact lens or hearing aid or other amplification device is needed in order to perceive correctly. For the mind, love creates a perfect and accurate lens, and although a mind of love has an accurate perception of the world, love's humility accepts that each mind only knows a piece of the puzzle. And it has an accurate, clear view and understanding of its particular piece of the puzzle. This is the clarity and accuracy needed in order to be a part of systemic solutions. When you observe through your senses, be sure the lens, the filter that you wear on your mind is created from love. This lens or filter interprets how you see the world. So how does love increase the accuracy of our understandings? Well, love is honest and confident, and love trusts what it creates. This is why it feels right and best. Look from empathy and compassion to see how to create loving solutions with others. This creates connections of healing and resolution. Strive to experience love both internally and in relationship. This context creates safety and the power to understand and to learn and to grow. Love expands consciousness. So what does that mean? What does it mean to expand consciousness? Well, by using love to inform the conscious mind, we broaden our view and elevate our vantage point. This expands our ability to understand and interpret the world and each life in it. Perceive everything using a context of love's wisdom. This brings you power and peace, and I'll talk about this peace more in a minute. Expanded consciousness shows you the possibilities for purposeful change and solutions that can develop a more compassionate world. When your heart is moved by love to act, be fluid enough to be moved. Make your life an expression of love's impact on the world, in the world. Depend on this in every action. From this broader context of love and compassion, we know love's actions become solutions anywhere love was previously absent. Attempted solutions that operate against love eventually fail and lead to trouble. Is your perception created from love's context of understanding? Expanded consciousness creates personal peace. Perceive the world as a place where you are made of love and exist as love. Nothing can take away the core of who you are and the reasons that you are here. You are made by love. You are here because love needs you. Your peace rests inside of you, independent of what is outside of you. True peace is what is unconditionally expressed into the world. True peace is not a reaction to the environment. Peace isn't something to wait for. It is something to be. You can be at peace and bring peace into the world no matter the situation. See every situation as opportunity. Make this the context of your life. Peace is not passive. It is not aggressive. Peace is assertive, and it gives you the power to assert love into every moment. When we use love to perceive the world, we construct our lives in ways which build more love, thus increasing our experience of love. The more that we do this, the more that we become aware of our internal peace, the more powerful our sense of our ability to have an impact becomes. We no longer think our peace is dependent on something external. We can perceive and experience love and thus gain a sense of internal peace which surpasses limited contexts of understanding. We know love from within ourselves, for ourselves, and for others. Now, if you don't use a lens of love to create your perception, you limit your thoughts and you may feel discouraged. You'll then think that you need a corrective lens for your mind. But there's no accurate corrective lens that can give you an accurate and meaningful understanding or viewpoint. When love is not the lens used, then people attempt to interpret accurately using lenses such as denial, hate, doubt, blame, and fear, prejudice, and scarcity, and more. These lenses attempt to create solutions, but instead they create ignorance, leading to greed and apathy and passivity and aggression and addiction and worry and division, violence and war. Love's peace is at work in each of our lives. Look at what love is doing in your life and in the world around you. The more we focus on love's activity, the more peace that we have in our hearts, our minds, and our emotions. It's just like driving a car. You have to focus ahead to see where you are going and to stay aware of the others around you. But if your focus is on the others around you, you probably won't get to where you're going. Notice where love is more needed and share your love. But don't immerse yourself in a perception distracted from love. If you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe and turn on your notification bell if you would like to see more videos about love's power, about nature, about relationships, and about communication skills. It is free to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Welcome.